Buckle up, Buttercup. Let's go. Hey, everybody. Rex Bear Leak Project, 3i Atlas. I had that all just dialed in. I was dialed in on that, and it was muted, of course. But hey, a minute later, we're here. I'll edit that part out. 3i Atlas. We're going to look at all the information we have on 3i Atlas right now. We're also going to look at all the information that we don't have, that we should have. There's about 13 different space agencies with the ability to launch probes and satellites in space. So even though the US, the government shut down right now, and NASA's not sharing any footage with us, the James Webb Telescope, no recent images, the HiRISE satellite system, no recent images. What about all the other countries that their governments haven't shut down? I think that's just as telling as the information that they have given us. So we're going to look at what we do know and what we don't know. And I'm just going to, real quick, folks, this is like going to be a 30-second shameless plug here. So Gladiator Barley, Boomer Boost. I take this stuff every day. It's amazing. Get yours at boomerboost.com. They should call it Gen X Boost or like Super Turbo Boost or Nitrous Charge Boost. I'm joking, but get some. Boomer Boost, Gladiator Barley, 2 scoops, mix it in your water, drink it. I feel amazing. I've been taking this now for about 5 years, and it's a part of my regular daily routine. And if you use the code REX20, use the code REX20, you'll get 20% off. If you click the link specific, you can actually set up auto ship. You can get additional discounts, so you can stack discounts. You can call them, and you can tell them, what you might want to work on, what you might need help with. And they're very nice. They're very knowledgeable. Boomerboost.com. Get some. You'll thank me later. Okay, that was a quick shameless plug. Did I keep that to within 30 seconds? I hope so. All right. So let's get into this, shall we? First, I'm going to share with you what we do know. And then we're going to look at, let's do the exciting part first. Let's just have some fun here, because this is very, very interesting once I show you this. All right, let me pull this up. Oh, yeah, and did you know that Nostradamus allegedly had a prediction about 3i Atlas? Did he not? Well, I've got information on that. I'm going to share it with you shortly. So let's do a share screen here. Here we go. Boom. Okay. As of early 2025, 12 countries and 1 intergovernmental organization have independent orbital launch capabilities, which is also including the European Space Agency as a single entity. This brings the total to 13 space agencies with the capacity to launch satellites into space. That includes the United States, Russia, China, the European Space Agency, Japan, India, Israel, Iran, North Korea, South Korea, Italy, France, and the United Kingdom. There's also a growing number of private companies, particularly in the US and China, that have orbital launch capabilities as well, like SpaceX, Rocket Lab, Blue Origin, iSpace, and Landspace. So with all of these different space agencies, you would think that we would have some other footage and data on 3i Atlas, the third interstellar object ever been discovered, at least publicly, that is traveling into our solar system from outside of the solar system. All of these very strange signatures, like the nickel alloy, the anti-tel, the size, the speed, the orbit maneuvering, the timing that links up with religious dates and proximities of planets, perihelion, the massive CME that we had on the 21st when there was a solar conjunction of 3i Atlas, massive CME in the back of the sun, probably at least an X5, possibly larger. All of this, yet we do not have images from Russia, China, Japan, India, Israel, Iran, North Korea, South Korea, Italy, France, or the UK. But what we do have is horrible footage from the ESA that looks like a TIE fighter that got shot and it's spinning through space, because that's the technology that they had available. So guess what I did? I was like, all right, well, maybe it's just our internet. Maybe it's just like the internet, so we don't like all we're going to get is what's in the States, what's in the US, because I'm doing a search here in the States. So I went to some of these other space agencies, like this one as an example. This is the China National Space Administration. It's kind of like NASA, but it's China's version of NASA. Well, I know that's a bad analogy, but anyway, you get the point. So 3i Atlas, let's do a search directly from China's website and see if something comes up. 3i Atlas, boom, search. We're sorry, failed to find the information you searched. We suggest you check if the text you entered has an error. Delete words or conditions that might be unnecessary. Well, 3i Atlas is the name of the object. Nothing on 3i Atlas. So I'm like, all right, well, what about if I go to the space here's the China space. Oh, wait, the first one, was this China? Yeah. So China, we check the China Space Administration, nothing. Now, here's India. So let's check India. Maybe the Indian Space Research Organization, Department of Space, maybe they'll have something. So type in 3i Atlas on the search. Just do an easy search. I mean, look at the size of that rocket. Did you see the size of that rocket? That's a big rocket. 3i Atlas. Does anything come up? Well, one search comes up, one result for 3i Atlas. But guess what? It's a active operational launch vehicle. It has nothing to do with 3i Atlas. It's the ISRO. It's a polar satellite launch vehicle. So nothing on 3i Atlas in India, nothing on 3i Atlas in China. What about Japan? Japan's got to have something on 3i Atlas, right? I mean, Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, what do we got? Let's do a search here. Well, this is what comes up. September 29th. 3i Atlas. So I clicked on this. This is a PDF talking about cosmic science. There's nothing about 3i Atlas in this brochure. Nothing. So India, no. China, no. Japan, Scroll down. All of this that's pulling up has nothing to do with 3i Atlas. So Japan doesn't have anything. What about Russia? Maybe Russia has something. The Russian Space Agency, the International Astronomical or Astronautical Federation. Do they have anything? Well, if you do a search, "3i Atlas," search. There were no search results for the search 3i Atlas. Nothing. Well, what about the European Space Agency? Type in 3i Atlas. What does the European Space Agency pop up? Well, you've seen these before, haven't you? We've got a few images and a little bit of footage here, but it's nothing spectacular, and it's all the way back in July. Now, they did release, this was the most recent ExoMars Express observing Comet 3i Atlas, and the image quality is terrible. You can't even tell that's a comet. Now, there's a lot of people that went wild with this footage. They thought that for sure this is because when you zoom in on it, if you zoom in on it and you adjust the contrast and the brightness and stuff, you can see it looks like this weird structure that's orbiting through space. And the problem is the quality. Like, look at the image to the top left there. You see that? Look, it's the Borg cube. No, it's a star. And that's what it looks like because the quality of the technology being used to capture this, it's not designed to pick up that object millions of miles away. So it's the CASSIS. It couldn't distinguish the nucleus from the coma. 3i Atlas is too far away. It is imaging this kilometer-wide nucleus would have been as impossible as seeing a mobile phone on the moon from Earth. So that's my point. We're not getting any real footage. We're not, I mean, I shouldn't say we're not getting any real footage. We're not getting any real good footage. We're not getting anything of high resolution or even medium resolution, especially since October 1st. And it made its closest approach to Mars October 3rd. So then people come out and come up with these awesome clickbait titles. I was like, well, that's pretty good. NASA quietly activates the Planetary Defense Network. And I looked into it and I couldn't find anything showing that NASA activated the Planetary Defense Network. What did happen, though, is this. The International Asteroid Warning Network initiated a campaign to monitor 3I Atlas. Now, this does have loose connections with NASA. Excuse me. But that's it. It's not NASA's Planetary Defense Network. NASA has a separate Planetary Defense Network. This is completely separate, and amateur astronomers can be involved in this. A multitude of individuals and businesses and groups can be a part of this. And essentially what it is, it's called IAWN, the International Asteroid Warning Network, where they're going to track the object starting next month, November 27th through January 27th. They're going to track it and see if they can figure out all of the data in helps of understanding the orbit and the trajectory, etc. Now, we're not even going to be able to see it again based upon its maneuvering until, I think, after October 29th. So it's very interesting. Now, another thing that's very interesting, this is it right here. Let me explain to you what it is if you didn't know. So this is the International Astronomical Union, the Minor Planet Center. The Minor Planet Center has what is referred to as the IAWN, International Asteroid Warning Network Comet Astrometry Campaign. And this is specifically describing, you can see right here, what they're going to do with 3I Atlas. Here's 3I Atlas right here. The International Asteroid Warning Network announces a Comet campaign from November 27th through January 27th, 2026 to introduce methods for improving astrometry from comet observations. The campaign will target Comet 3I Atlas, which is also known as C-2025N1, to exercise the capability of the observing community to extract accurate astrometry. You know what? Let's try this. Let's take this and see if we put this in any of these. Yeah, this is showing us policies and announcement. Let's do a search. Well, we just checked here, but we'll do it again. Okay, nothing. Search. Research in areas of space. All right, we've got no data. Who's this? This is from July of 2020. That's not it. Okay, so there's nothing on the Comet, even if I put in different parameters instead of 3I Atlas, because it's also referred to as C-2025N1. I see nothing on the Comet. Absolutely nothing. Let's search here now. Let's do a search. Nothing. No results. So the only thing we've got is this terrible footage from ESA that's recent. We know that the Minor Planet Center, which is, just so you know, the Minor Planet Center is the single worldwide location for receipt and distribution of positional measurements of minor planets, comets, and outer irregular natural satellites of the major planets. The MPC is responsible for identification, designation, and orbit computation for all of these objects. This involves maintaining the master files of observations and orbits, keeping track of the discovery of each object, and announcing discoveries to the rest of the world via electronic circulars and an extensive website. The MPC operates at the Smithsonian Astrophysical Observatory under the auspices of Division F of the International Astronomical Union. All of the MPC's operating funds come from a NASA Near-Earth Object Observations Program grant. Much of the computer equipment that the MPC uses was provided by the Tompkin Foundation. So there's the link to NASA right there. But this is not NASA's planetary defense network that is actually tracking YR4, Comet YR4, and they seem to be quite concerned of YR4, possibly hitting the moon even. They did downgrade it from hitting the Earth, though, to potentially hitting the moon with a 4% chance. So they're talking about nuking it to divert it or blow it up. But then it would be, imagine a bunch of space debris after you try and blow up some massive comet. How much of that would crash land into Earth? So this is interesting right here. The following minor planet electrical circular may be linked to from your own webpage. Okay, that's cool. But check this out. 3i Atlas. A new NEO candidate was discovered by Atlas Chile in 4 30-second survey images taken July 1st. Immediate follow-up and recovery observations, including data from June, revealed a highly eccentric hyperbolic orbit. There are tentative reports of cometary activity from XO9 and T14 with a marginal coma and a short 3-inch tail at a position angle 280 degrees. Additional observations are strongly encouraged to better constrain the object's orbit and nature. Any additional observations received by the MPC will be officially published in the MPC's Standard Orbits and Observations of Comets publication. In the meantime, all observations received by the MPC are available in real time via the MPC Explorer. Oh. Three Eye Atlas not found. Okay. What else did they call it? Now it's not pulling up in the. Boom. Check it out. Got it. Here we go. Now, they just said that we can get access to this in real time. So let's see what comes up. The designation, this is the International Astronomical Union designation, 3i, object type interstellar. Download JSON, what is that? Observations. So here is, if somebody knows how to read this stuff, it looks like you can get access to the latest data right here, and then you can download this and upload it with certain software, because we've got the catalog, the observatory, have a whole bunch of data in this. And I don't know what it means. I want to know what it means. Somebody tell me what it means. Unable to fetch orbit. It's unable to fetch the orbit. Oh, interesting. Interesting how it can't fetch the orbit right now. So it's orbit, can't fetch it. It's got a ton of observations, 4,210 total observations. And here it is. And you can get all this from the Minor Planet Center. I bet you didn't know about that, did you? So we just figured that out. Pretty cool. And this is the International Asteroid Warning Network and the campaign. We were just looking at that. And the exercise, the capability of the observing community to extract accurate astrometry to prepare for the campaign, holding a workshop on techniques to correctly measure comet astrometry. I wonder if I could be a part of this. I'm actually going to send him an email. Registration is required by November 7th. I'm going to send him an email, see if I can be a part of this, and then I can share all that information with you. That'd be pretty cool. This is one of the images from NASA's, what is this again? What do they call this? Here we go. NASA's Sphere. This is a spectrophotometer for the history of the universe. Cool. And this is 3i Atlas right here. And some people have think that it's showing a multitude of objects around it. Maybe they could be right. To me, it just looks like what do you call it? Noise, stereo noise, or whatever that's captured in the images. The way that they're capturing these images, I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong. So, but this one right here, I thought this one was pretty cool. And this was taken from the 2-meter twin telescope in the Canary Islands. And it's composed of 159 exposures, 50 seconds each, taken August 2nd. Shows the jet pointed towards the sun. But guess what? That jet ends up reversing course. And now the tail is where traditional comets, the tails are, would be the opposite, side of the sun. It would be facing away from the sun. So that was pretty interesting. This is also what I wanted to share with you. And I did some extensive research on this because there's a multitude of reports that Nostradamus and claims. There's a multitude of claims, and news articles are picking up on this now, different news channels saying that Nostradamus predicted in one of his quatrains that there was going to be a fireball seen, and this fireball that was going to be observed was going to, well, let me see. Let me find it. Where'd it go? Here we go. Meanwhile, centuries-old writings from Nostradamus have resurfaced, predicting that from the cosmos a fireball will rise. An ominous passage some believe describes a celestial event eerily similar to 3i Atlas's current trajectory. As the end of 2025 draws near, scholars, scientists, and skeptics alike ask the same question. Could the most famous seer in history have foreseen the arrival of this interstellar visitor? Well, I looked through the quatrains, and please, folks, if you know where this quatrain is, please show me, because I couldn't find a quatrain that said this. There's actually more to it. Let me find it. Yeah. What was the original? Dang it, where did it go? Okay. Nostradamus, fireball from sky, quatrain. I had this already, sorry. Yeah, right here. The alleged quatrain says, from the cosmos, a fireball will rise. A harbinger of fate, the world pleads. Science and fate in a cosmic dance, the fate of the earth, a second chance. So I was like, wow, I want to, when I saw that, I was like, that's really freaking cool. I want to know where that quatrain was. I want to know exactly which one it was. So I did a search. I did a deep dive. I used some artificial intelligence programs with ChatGPT and Google. And then I found a whole bunch of different news articles that are quoting this quatrain. Like, look at this. 1, 2, 3, even Yahoo. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then even Penn State newspaper had the same quatrain quote, the exact same quote. And so my point is, you've got dozens of news articles out there taking one quote from the internet that allegedly was in a quatrain that Nostradamus predicted allegedly, and I couldn't find it. I've even got I went to the U.S. archives and I downloaded a book on all of Nostradamus's quatrains, and I found a couple that were similar, and I found some very interesting quatrains, but I didn't find one that said a fireball from the cosmos. So here it is again. Let's read this again. From the cosmos, a fireball will rise, a harbinger of fate. The world pleads science and fate in a cosmic dance, the fate of the earth, a second chance. Sounds like a freaking fireball from space. It sounds like a comet or an asteroid or maybe some type of missile or whatever. But the point is, you've got dozens of people taking one thing they see on the internet and then writing articles about it, claiming that this is from Nostradamus. And I can't find anybody that can show me the exact quatrain that this came from. Now, what I did find was the Century 6 quatrain 97, which I will share with you right here, which is similar, but it's different. And it says, the heavens shall burn at 5 and 40 degrees. The fire shall come near the great new city. In an instant, a great flame dispersed shall burst out, when they shall make a trial of the Normans. A cataclysmic fire shall engulf the greatest and newest of the world's big cities. So a lot of people actually have already connected this to the event that happened back in 2001. And they said, well, that's what this event is referring to. And I could see how they can come up with that, but it's still very vague. So you can't really have an absolute. So I did some research on the 45 degrees. When it says the heavens shall burn at 5 and 40 degrees, I did some research to see if there was like, where would you link that up with space? Like where would that be in space? Would that be where 3i Atlas is? Would that be in the constellation of Virgo? And I don't know. But one thing I realized after going through some of the quatrains that Nostradamus had put in here, and this is going to blow you away, folks, if you didn't already know this. If you already knew this, then you're one step ahead of me. But a lot of these quatrains, when he's describing certain animals, like the lion or the scorpion, I think he's talking about the zodiac. I think he's using a lot of code connected with the zodiac. So when he describes certain events, we can look in that part of the zodiac and see if it correlates with what he is describing. I think that could be a very powerful key in decoding some of these texts. Now, you can do the same thing with the scriptures in Revelation, Revelation 13. That is absolutely describing celestial events. And that took place in 2017. And it will take place again in a few hundred years. So these events that are described in scriptures oftentimes are talking about the stars and the planets and the constellations and where they're going to be when these events take place. It's incredible. It is, once you understand that, it just changes, it totally changed my perception about religion and scriptures and even the ancient Sumerian and Babylonian and Akkadian texts. You can understand it much better, and you can get rid of a lot of the ancient alien hypothesis. Even the Ezekiel's will that a lot of people have speculated as some type of spacecraft or alien craft. If you go back and read that, you're going to be able to understand how it's most likely referring to the zodiac will. Super cool. So anyway, the more you know. That's some of the quatrains from Nostradamus. And if you're just joining us, thank you for joining us here. Let me show you what I did today. I also did a live stream on Rumble. If you want to, after this, jump on over to Rumble and listen to the hour-and-a-half podcast I did. We got into 6G. We got into the geoengineering. We got into the latest with NATO's nuclear exercises. Russia's doing some nuclear exercises right now. France, the Prime Minister of France recently warned the hospitals out there in a letter that they need to be prepared for up to 50,000 people, up to 50,000 hospitalized people by early next year. What are they preparing for? Well, something very, very big. So yeah, jump on over to Rumble after this if you want to hear about some of the other stuff that's going on. But this is what I did today. I was like, okay, yes, the US government is shut down right now. Yes, NASA's laid off hundreds of people, furloughed hundreds of people. I think like 1,400 or something. Let's double check on that. NASA furloughs how many? NASA furloughs 83% of its federal workforce. Wow. Unbelievable, but not unbelievable. Actually, it makes a lot of sense. And you know what? On that note, ladies and gentlemen, what I was going to say is these are all the different agencies out there that have access to satellite technologies that you would think could most likely pick up on this 3i Atlas. And when you do a search, when you go to China's space agency, do a search, they have nothing on 3i Atlas or C2025N1 either. Japan, India, Russia, nothing. The only thing we're going to find from the European Space Agency is this terrible footage right here that, I mean, it's, you know, it's not showing us much. So that's what I wanted to share with you. And I thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing day. Hit the bell, be well. Check us out over on Patreon for exclusive content and be the change you want to see. Have a beautiful day.